Pakistan is the worst country when it comes to blasphemy. There are some notable incidents, like there's a Wikipedia article for it, which probably that's why Wikipedia was banned. However, that's been overturned. We'll talk about it separately. Look, these are some notable incidents of blasphemy cases in Pakistan. Majority of them were lynched by a mob or by mobs. I covered this news story, 12th of February, a mentally unstable person, Mushtaq Ahmed, was stoned to death. A Hindu teacher earlier, a couple of weeks prior to that, was sentenced to death for blasphemy in Sindh, Pakistan. And you might remember this one. I think everyone spoke about it when a Sri Lankan, and there's a whole heap of cases like that as well. Let me bring this one up. Yeah, but you might remember this case of a Sri Lankan manager working in a Pakistani factory. He was accused of committing blasphemy. Sorry. Yeah, Priyantha Kumara. He was accused of committing blasphemy. He was lynched by a mob. There was 200-300 people just turned on him. They brutally beat him up with clubs and sticks and hammers and all kind of things, and then they set him alight. That happened in December 2021, and since then I've covered probably about 7 or 8 incidents of people getting lynched by mobs in Pakistan. So yesterday, a man was accused of blasphemy. He was accused of, let me bring up these photos. He was accused of putting the photos of himself and of his girlfriend that he wanted to marry or something. So he was apparently doing some sorcery on Quran's pages. So that this is actually one of those photos. And some people found out about that. They accused him of blasphemy. The police came in. The police arrested him, and then the police took him away. And then a few hours later, a mob of 200 or 300 people turned up at the police station. They barged in. They dragged him out. Exactly how they beat up Priyantha Kumar. There are videos of that. Obviously, we're not going to show you that. He was beaten up by mobs. And sadly, there were some young kids as well, 14, 15-year-old kids who were beating this guy with clubs and sticks. And then when they dragged his body, naked body, you can see it, and then they set him alight. It was horrendous as it gets, but it just keeps on getting worse and worse. As I said, since Priyantha Kumar, I've covered like 5 or 6 stories like this, but the frequency is actually increasing. And the common answer that we get from people when an event like this takes place in Pakistan, oh, it's got nothing to do with Islam. Whether it's got something to do with Islam or not, well, let's just talk about it. But let me show you what Pakistan celebrities, Pakistani scholars, how they glorify these things. And when it happens, they say, oh, this has got nothing to do with Islam. Let me show you Pakistan's #1 social media influencer. Look at it. Look what he has to say.
के लिए लड़ जाता हूं, अपने वीजे मेरे खराब हो जाए कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता, कादियानी हो या कोई भी हो, जो मेरे आखिरी नबी हजरत मोहम्मद मुस्तफा सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के बारे में कुछ बोलेगा, सर तन से जुदा. खत्म हो गई बात.
We're against this. We're against this. YouTube, we are against this. We're just showing you the news. We are against violence. We're against death threats. We're just reporting what's happening. Okay, this is vile, disgusting, and we stand against it. I just want to clarify that for YouTube.
And this guy, you might have seen or heard of him, Oriya Maqbool Jan. Look what he said just a couple of days ago. Sorry.
पहली बात तो ये है कि कादियानियों को हम आम मुशरिकीन से और आम लोगों से मुख्तलिफ समझते हैं. हम बुनियादी तौर पे खत्म नबूवत के अकीदे के बारे में तसव्वुर करते हैं कि जो शख्स सैयदुल अंबिया सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के बाद बहसियत मुसलमान कहते हुए अपने आप को मुसलमान कहते हुए रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की नबूवत के बाद नबूवत का दावा करता है। हम समझते हैं रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की उस नबूवत पे डाका मारता है। और हमारे यहां सुन्नत सिर्फ एक है, और सैयदना अबू बकर सिद्दीक की सुन्नत है कि मुसलमान कद्दाब की तरफ की गर्दन उड़ा दो, असदमसी की तरफ की गर्दन उड़ा दो। खुद रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने खुद ऐसे लोगों के मुकाबले में लोगों को भेजा है कि जाओ जाके उसको कत्ल करके आओ, कि कोई और रास्ता।
So when people like these influential people of Pakistan, when they openly boast and promote and incite people to go and kill those who even follow someone else as a prophet. I was going to show you this video not long ago, but then I think we ran out of time. Let me find another video. Just an example of how sensitive and snowflakey and butthurt Pakistanis get. And it wasn't always like this. It's happened because of people like I just showed you. They found this guy not so long ago, and look how he almost dodged this mob. This is only from 3 weeks ago. So he survived, nothing happened, the police arrested him, so it's okay. So apparently he was also a follower of some fake prophet. That's just a backdrop of what's been happening. And then when something as outrageous as what we're talking about happens, they say it's got nothing to do with Islam. So now let's have a look at that claim as well. If this behavior has got anything to do with Islam. I've always spoken about it, and I'm happy that a lot of my Urdu listeners remember these 4 names. 4 names, always remember these 4 names. Nadir ibn Harith, Abu Afaq, Asma bint Marwan, and Uqba. In that order, remember that. What happened to Nadir ibn Harith? Does this have anything to do with Islam? Let's have a look. It is even in the Quran, chapter 8, verse 31. Whenever our verses are recited to them, they say, we have heard it already. If we wished to, we'd say the same as this. These are only legends of primitive people. So who was this who was mocking Muhammad and saying, hey, Muhammad, what you're telling us, we already know of this. This is crap. And I think Muhammad felt challenged, because the Quran gives you that challenge that, hey, if you think that this is a word of a man, then produce a verse like this. And obviously this guy, Nadir ibn Harith, was actually challenging Muhammad. He was saying that I can recite these verses and I can tell you these legends of the old better than you. So Ibn Kathir explains this verse as this. There was this guy, Nadir visited Persia and learned the stories of some Persian kings such as Rustam and Isfandiyar. When he went back to Makkah, he found that the Prophet was sent from Allah and reciting the Quran to the people. Whenever the Prophet would leave an audience in which Nadir was sitting, Nadir began narrating to them the stories that he learned in Persia, proclaiming afterwards, who by Allah has better tales to narrate, I or Muhammad? Meaning he's basically saying that I'm telling these stories better than Muhammad. Muhammad knows nothing. Muhammad has copied these stories. When Allah allowed the Muslims to capture Nadir in the Battle of Badr, the Messenger of Allah commanded that his head be cut off before him, and that was done. All thanks are due to Allah. So Muslims love to brag about that. Hey, Muhammad was so merciful. He used to forgive people. He used to he used to take money, and he used to release the prisoners of war. No, he didn't. Just for this fact alone, he was beheaded because Muhammad saw him as a blasphemer. Okay, after this is written on the life of, which is the Seerah of Muhammad, the life of Muhammad, page 675. A guy named Abu Afaq, he showed his disaffection when the apostle killed Nadir ibn Harith. So he wrote a poem. He said, long have I lived, but never have I seen an assembly or collection of people more faithful to their undertaking and their allies when called upon than the sons of Caleb, blah, blah, blah. He just, apparently, this is blasphemy in the eyes of the apostle. He said, who will deal with this rascal for me? And then whereupon Salim bin Umair, brother of Banu Umar bin Auf, one of the weepers, went forth and killed Abu Afaq. So Nadir ibn Harith got killed, Abu Afaq got killed. After that, Asma bint Marwan, and a woman, got upset. And she also wrote a poem, which was blasphemous to the great prophet. So again, when the apostle heard what she had said, he said, "Who will rid me of Marwan's daughter?" So this guy, Umar bin Adiyah, who was with him, heard him. And that very night, he went to her house and killed her. In the morning, now this guy had better morals than this prophet of peace. He said, he came to apostle and told him what he had done and said, "Oh, you have helped God and his apostle, O Umar." When he asked if he would have to bear any evil consequences because he killed a woman, so then the prophet said, "Two goats won't butt their heads about her." So Umar went back to his people. So he felt guilty for killing a woman, but Muhammad said, "Don't worry about it. It's all good. You've killed a blasphemer. That's fine." Another one. After this, there was this guy by the name of Uqba. He's a naughty character. He used to make fun of Muhammad when Muhammad was in Mecca and nobody used to listen to him. He once put these intestines on Muhammad when he was prostrating. And his daughter Fatma came and she removed those intestines off his back. And they were laughing. They were making fun of Muhammad. So Muhammad's time was yet to come. So when Muhammad captured him, he said, he ordered Uqba to be killed. But then Uqba cried to the Prophet. He said, "Oh, but Prophet, who will look after my children, O Muhammad?" Muhammad said, "Hell." He said, and Asim bin Thabit killed him, according to what Abu Ubaidah had told. So he got killed. Again, also, now this guy, maybe you might not feel sorry for him because he was a bit of a dick, but the previous people had only written poems which were blasphemous to Muhammad. In this day and age, just imagine, I'm a leader of a country, Armin is my political rival, he says something about me, I order his assassination. Imagine that, how bad. We live in a civilized world, we don't do that. Yes, some people still do it if you're a Putin fan. But this is supposed to be the best person that we used to follow. Now there's a common argument Muslims give. Muslims say, "Oh, there's no extrajudicial killing in Islam." That's a lie as well. Let me give you some evidence. Have a look at this. There was this. Sorry. Give me a second. So this hadith is in Sunan Nasai. You can see the grading is Sahih. This hadith can also be seen in Sunan Abi Dawud 4361. This is also Sahih, graded by Albani. So in short, there was this blind man. He had a slave woman. He also had 2 sons with her. She used to curse Muhammad. He told her not to curse her, but she kept cursing Prophet Muhammad. And one day he got sick of it, and then he stabbed her multiple times, and he killed her. The news got to the Prophet. The Prophet summoned him, and he said, "Okay, what's the reason? Why did you kill her?" He was scared. He said, "I killed her because, oh, Prophet, she used to curse you. I stopped her, but she would not stop, so therefore I killed her." Extrajudicial killing. You would think that Muslims would say, according to Muslims, "Oh, that should be fine. He should still be sentenced to death because nobody gives him a right to be a judge, jury, and executioner." But guess what Prophet Muhammad said? The Prophet said, "I bear witness that her blood is permissible," meaning it's okay to kill her. Now, another example that I have of people that Muhammad he did not respect. There's no judge, jury, and execution when it came to Muhammad's own honor. There was this. It's a rather funny story. Let me bring that up. There it is. So there's another instance where Muhammad just made up, just passed a judgment without any regard for the judicial process. Sahih Muslim 2771. A man was accused of having sexual relationships with Muhammad's sex slave. When Muhammad found out that someone had established sexual relationships with his own sex slave, he got angry and jealous. He told Ali, "Go and strike his neck." So Ali went there looking for that guy. That guy was sitting by a well, just cooling down, having the time of his life. Ali said to him, "Hey, come out. Muhammad has ordered me to execute you." He came and he said, "Why does Muhammad want to execute me?" He said, "You've been having sex with Muhammad's sex slave." You know what he said? Armin, have a look at this. Pay attention. He said, "How could I have performed?" This guy said, "How could I have performed, established sexual relationships with Muhammad's sex slave? I don't even have a penis." That guy didn't even have a penis, and Muhammad had accused him of having sexual relationships with his own sex slave and had ordered his execution. He falsely accused a guy of adultery who didn't even have a penis. So that's
why would they even record this? I don't understand. This shows how flawed the whole thing is. Why would they even put that?
Yeah, they're stupid because they wanted to keep a record of everything. So anyway, so my point is, there's no judicial process in Islam. Muhammad's example is a prime example of Muhammad's actions are a prime example of him encouraging people to kill blasphemers extrajudicially. I've shown you, according to Muslims' own sources, I've shown you from the example of the Prophet, and this is why when a mob kills these random people on charges of or accusations of blasphemy, you cannot say that it's got nothing to do with Islam. Lastly, I'll wrap this up with my favorite video. Listen to this guy.
का मसला है क्या? मैंने कहा इब्ने खतल, जिसके बारे में हुजूर ने फरमाया जहां मिले इसको कत्ल कर दो, वो नीचे से काबे के खिलाफ बड़ा मजबूती से आज भी बांधा जाता है, रस्सियों से, रस्सों से, बल्कि वो नीचे से चढ़ता चढ़ता आधे जाकर उसने लटक गया। साहबा ने कहा जी वो तो काबे मुतअल्लिकुन बिअस्तारिल काबा थे, वो तो काबे के खिलाफ से लिपटा हुआ है। एक तरफ काबे की दीवार है, दूसरी तरफ काबे का खिलाफ है। अब फरमाएं क्या करना है? तो मेरे आका ने फरमाया उक्तुलू, उसको वहीं कत्ल कर दिया।
So blasphemers are encouraged to be killed under Islamic doctrine, and obviously we're talking against it. We're not. We obviously don't support it.
By the way, exactly. Say that.
No, you say it better than me is saying it.
By the way, this is important that we do say this, because unlike what a lot of people in the live chat are encouraging us not to say this, but they're idiots. They don't know. Like, I mean, well, I wasn't talking about. Sorry, I don't mean to. Ayan, I'm not talking about you, but there's certain other people who don't understand that it's just better to be safe than sorry, because YouTube's algorithm is dumb. And I have firsthand experience that if you just mention to YouTube that we were just covering in news and these are not our opinions, if you do get a random strike, when you appeal it, just referring to the part that we are saying that these were not our opinions actually does help. So it's just helpful to make sure that we do say that. So Harris, it's very interesting that you make a connection between these actions, because to show that these actions are not coming out of nowhere. It's not just a cultural thing that is separate from Islam. You're connecting the behavior with Scripture. I do think, though, that some of the Scripture you're showing are more powerful than the other ones, because so I don't know actually if this is a fair thing to say, because the Sirah doesn't have that same level of authenticity in Islam than the Sahih Hadith that you're showing. I used to say that, but now I'm saying that less, because in the eyes of an average Muslim, they don't have the same level of criteria with regards to which one of these narratives they are considered as more serious or less serious. These are the teachings of Muhammad. These are the lives of Muhammad that people accept as fact, and they're not going through this in an academic way to see which one of them are, sahih, which one of them is not. The Sirah is actually most of what we know about Muhammad. I mean, a lot of what we know about Muhammad comes from the Sirah, not necessarily from authentic hadith. And many Muslims consider that as just fact. So it's important to consider all of them, not just Sahih Hadith. But you did have a whole bunch of Sahih Hadith as well, not just the Sirah.
I've got one more too. So this video that I played of Khadim Hussain Rizvi, the one who founded TLP, this is a hadith he was referring to. This is Sahih Bukhari 1846, where when Muhammad entered Mecca as a conqueror, when he took off his helmet on his head, someone told him that, hey, Ibn Qatl is holding the covering of the Kaaba to take refuge, because anyone who would go there and hide in at the Kaaba, you could not murder anyone. Muhammad said, "Screw this, go and kill him."
So this is we don't keep that on, okay, guys. This is like you can see on the screen. This is Sahih Bukhari. When it comes to knowing what Muhammad said and did, you don't have anything with higher authority than Sahih Bukhari. You might think that it's the Quran, but the Quran doesn't actually tell you anything about what Muhammad did and said. Without the Hadith, you wouldn't know anything about the life of Muhammad. And when it comes to the authority of what scripture we have about life of Muhammad, you don't have anything above Sahih Bukhari, right? And put this red line that that Harris has drawn. The average Muslim believes that the conquest of Mecca happened without a single drop of blood. How many times have you heard that, Harris? That look at how peaceful Muhammad. Islam is a religion of peace, and an example of that is Muhammad's conquest of Mecca was what happened without a single drop of blood. So the people who are saying this to you are not aware of their own religion, because Muhammad specifically asked for certain people to be killed when he conquered Mecca, especially people who insulted him, people who wrote poetry or insults about him. So basically thought crimes. And yeah, this is the way of the Prophet. This is Islam.
I was going to say, oh yeah, so I wanted to talk about it. So yeah, you're right. Academically, Sirah, the different gradings, where's Sirah, where's Tafsirs, which Tafsirs, and then obviously Hadith, and then the grading of Hadith, and then Sahih Hadith. But TLP has popularized this notion of killing blasphemers at the back of this Hadith, Man sabba nabiyyan faqtuluhu. Apparently, that's a weak Hadith. Apparently, it's a Zaif Hadith, or it doesn't have a strong chain, or whatever, something like that. But apparently it has become popularized so much. So these people that we look at, you think that they go and they look at the chains? No, they don't. They just go for it. Whatever the cleric tells them, kind of like the video clip that I played you. Those popularizers, they say these things, and these people look at it like that. Look at this. These are just screenshots from the one of the video. Look at these faces. These are ordinary people. Look at this kid. We've blurred his face out. This kid was also there in that horrible video. And these are the guys. They were all there. And these people, they're just following what their clerics are telling them. So it doesn't really matter. So if it's written in that, so I'm simply the reason why I'm telling you about Nadir ibn Harith, Abu Afaq, Asma bint Marwan, Uqba, blind man and his sex slave. These stories are there in Muslims' own sources. So not everyone denies them. A lot of these people actually accept them as well. So it's important for those lipstick Muslims who come around and then tell us, oh no, Islam is a religion of peace. Those people, you're right. They have absolutely no idea. They've never read the Quran. And they have definitely never read the Hadiths. They've only read those good stories. Or there was this woman who used to throw rubbish at Prophet Muhammad. And, one day she didn't throw rubbish at him. He goes, oh, I haven't, no one's thrown rubbish at me today. So let me go and look after that woman. And he went up and looked. He never did that. The only guy who actually did throw something similar at Muhammad, Uqba, he threw intestines on Muhammad. He lost his head, So yeah, these people don't know anything about their own religion, yet they're the ones who come around and they tell us, hey, Islam is a religion of peace. It's a beautiful religion. You don't know anything about Islam. They've never read anything.
Yeah, and it's amazing how many people try to deny that link between these crimes and Islam. Like there's so much evidence that we have that shows that they are connected and they influence each other. And I think people think that when we say that these crimes are affected by Islam, we're saying there's a one-to-one relationship, as if there's two extremes. People who think that these people just study the Hadith and follow it word by word, and people who think that there's no connection. But what we know is the correlation might not be 1-to-1, but it's pretty close. If it's not 1, it's 0.9. It's an amazing accident if the same actions that these Muslim radicals are taking is line by line can be found in Islamic belief, and you think Islam has had no influence on him, you have to be delusional. I mean, I think these people are being purposefully delusional when they claim stuff like that. Obviously, it has a major impact. But thank you for making sure that I mean, this is one thing I like about what you do, Harris. Like, every time these things happen, a lot of people are afraid to show the source, and you come in here and make the connection. And it's important that you keep doing that. So thank you for it. Get my best-selling book, Why There Is No God, for free. Click on the link for it in the description.